Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Yes, we are live. Technology problems will not hold us back from a Week 1 live Feedback Friday on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. A couple things before we get into your comments, your questions, concerns, critiques, your takes. And we have I think it's going to be a pretty fun snake draft of the week here because it kind of pertains to like Vikings history and also this year's team. But Feedback Friday is brought to you guys in part by the Renaissance Festival. Open weekends until September 29th. So you got another, almost month of Renfest festivities where you can throw axes, wield swords, watch live armored combat jousting, 16 stages of entertainment, discounted tickets at renaissancefest.com. We appreciate them powering Feedback Friday. And if you're looking to fuel up for the weekend here, no better place than Quick Trip, Judd Zolgad.
Football is here. I mean, my God, it's 5 consecutive days, starting with last night. And so that means you're going to want to spend a lot of time at home. But it also means you're going to say, you know what? I need some snacks. I might need breakfast, lunch, dinner. I might need gasoline for my car for Monday. Where can I go to get everything quickly? Because I got to get home and watch football. It's Quick Trip, because Quick Trip is the fast, convenient store that also doubles like a grocery store. And if the big game's on and you go at halftime, here's the simplest thing. Put the Quick Trip app on your phone, fill up the gas tank, and they will bring out to you what you order so you can rush home and watch more football. Ain't it grand? Quick Trip. Quick Trip is here for you.
How about last night? We get just a banger of a finish in the first game of the year. The trolling comments back and forth after the game. Kind of ballsy of Isaiah Likely. It was a night. Guy had a crazy game. Mark Andrews might be looking to update his LinkedIn profile after last night.
Yes.
But he makes the catch, and then his black cleat with the toe just I saw some conspiracy theories. Sam Munson from formerly of Pro Football Focus, he left a couple weeks ago, saying that he thinks that because the cleats they turn upward at the toe design-wise, that if you had a camera that was laid down flat on the grass, he's not convinced that the actual toe touched the white line of the out of bounds. Now, Patrick Mahomes said after the game, maybe the dude just needs some white cleats so he can avoid controversy.
That's actually not wrong. Not wrong. What they need to do in a $1 billion league, we need the end zone more wired for technology.
Yeah, so, did you step on the line or not?
Exactly. So it just goes bing, 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 or
clearly his toe was over the line.
No, right. But I'm just saying it's a $1 billion. It's a $1 billion league, and we still have old fat guys trying to determine if the ball crossed the plane.
Fat guys. I don't know what Sean Hockley you're looking at.
Oh God,
last
13
night,
penalties. Don't even get me started. He was
13 flexes for the camera.
What this point of emphasis? My God, we're gonna do this again.
It's a 15-yard penalty going this way, or is it going this way? I'm not quite sure.
Number 76 lined up in the backfield. That's not the backfield, you jackass.
He's literally Hulkamaniacs doing a wave, getting the crowd pumped up.
Oh, the old.
What you gonna do,
brother?
When this 10-yard holding penalty rains down on you?
The old man was 10 times worse.
Worse or better, you mean? I don't know. You seem to have a problem with the Hockeys. I think they're great for entertainment.
They love TV time, but this point of emphasis, when it affects the Vikings game on Sunday, is going to drive me nuts.
Yeah. Oh, the offensive linemen.
You're not lined up on the line of scrimmage, but they declare you to be in the backfield when you're this much off where you're supposed to be on the mark.
Yeah,
come on.
I don't know how I feel. But they always have a point of emphasis in the first couple weeks, and then they kind of forget about it. So.
I know, but it affects games.
Yeah, I know. It could affect the Giants too, because those Giants offensive linemen are going to be looking to get an extra step or two against that Brian Flores defense. Let's start with this one from Brad Lynch, Feedback Friday. Hey boys, I read the Vikings have the second oldest roster in the NFL. Yet they're trying to lay the foundation for when they will be competitive again in the future. Best case scenario is the window opens next year. This quote-unquote strategy by Kwesi is complete nonsense. Invest in younger players so they are ready and able to contribute when the window is open, what are we doing with such an aging, non-competitive roster? Again, either be built to win a Super Bowl now or take lumps with younger players to prepare in future years. Yeah, what do you make of the Vikings having the second oldest roster in the NFL?
I think it is, because I was very surprised to see that, but then the more I thought about it, it made some sense. It is completely skewed by a few guys.
Yeah.
Harrison Smith, Gilmore, Shaq Griffin. It is essentially skewed by positions at which there will be wholesale changes, i.e. cornerback, in 2025. So, like, the roster is, because you think, oh my God, they're really old. Aaron Jones is old, okay?
You're too old.
You're too old. Aaron Jones,
Start
he's
to die.
aging, okay? But you're going to find a running back. Like, if they're key players, like, if Sam Darnold was their quarterback, and it's like, I hope he has a good year because he might be back, then I'd be like, yeah, okay, what are we doing here? But if you look at some of the most important places, they're not old. So I think it's completely skewed by basically guys who are being given an opportunity to play here for a season, but will be ultimately replaced by younger talent.
So I don't know if we would be, well, as we found out on Wednesday's Write That Down and quarterback cesspool session, doing math on this show could be very dangerous and spark debate. But if you look up and down 32 teams, so I'm getting this from the NFL Stats Twitter account. So the Packers are the youngest roster in the league, 25.2 years of age on average. So 25.2. The Vikings are 27.2, just behind the Dolphins, 27.3. So 32 teams, there's a 2-year difference in age. If you were to take, for instance, let's see here. The Chiefs actually have the 6th youngest. They're tied with the Jaguars. So tied for the 5th youngest roster is 25.9 years old. So the Vikings are only like 1.3 years away average from a top 5 young roster. If you were to take away Harrison Smith, Stephon Gilmore,
Right.
Shaq Griffin, I can't remember
Aaron
one
Jones.
of the Aaron Jones. These are like 1 year sort of stopgap options. Would they be closer to a top 5 young roster? I mean,
Right.
they'd certainly
It's
be more
skewed.
middle of the pack. Yeah.
Andrew DePaula, the long snapper, is 37.
There you go. That's
Like,
another
he's
one.
that's
We're
a huge
literally
outlier.
counting the 37-year-old long snapper.
Right.
Now I will listen to if you wanted, like what I just said, if you wanted to pick nits with it, you would say, okay, great. Well, let's get rid of Hall of Fame safety, potentially Hall of Fame cornerback in Stephon Gilmore, if not like Hall of Very Good. And let's get rid of Aaron Jones, one of the top 10 running backs in the NFL. And that makes your roster younger, but who's replacing those guys in the future?
Right.
Those are legitimate questions, but I like the safety room after Harrison Smith leaves. Mekhi Blackman comes back from the injury next year. Don't love the cornerback room post Stephon Gilmore. And, Ty Chandler plus whoever they draft in 2025, they can figure out running back. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a fun headline. Look how old the Vikings are compared to other teams, but it's when you start to dig deeper, it's very skewed.
Yeah, and I think it's also the discussion has to be predicated somewhat on the length of the contracts of said older players. Smith is gone.
Yeah.
I would guess that Shaq is gone. I would guess that for sure Gilmore is gone. So like it's not like, oh my God, you're stuck with multi-year contracts of all these old guys to pay off. So I think the Vikings have, for the first time in a long time, actually, I think they've contractually positioned themselves pretty well here.
You're young, and by young I mean like 25, 26 and younger at a lot of your key positions.
Yes.
Edge rusher, you got a 21-year-old in the room. Left tackle, you got, what's Darisaw, like 24 or 25 years old. Mm-hmm. Quarterback, 21 years old. Jefferson and Jordan Addison, both 25 and younger. So you've got key young players at key positions. It's not a perfect roster, but
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The only aging really good player that concerns me a bit, because I don't know what the future is going to be, is Brian O'Neill at right tackle.
Yeah.
Because he's been banged up and he's not young now, and I don't think he's got a long time left here. And he's been so good, and it is nice. For all we've bitched and moaned about the line itself, it's been nice for the last few years to have bookend tackles. And by the way, if you want to complain about an offensive line, go and watch Baltimore's last night, okay?
Well, they changed over, right? I mean, they only have 2 remaining from last year.
But I mean, it's a work in progress.
Yeah. Okay, Terry Pitt via the YouTube comment section says, you guys need to understand, in the past seasons, this is our time. Brad Johnson was a backup at Florida State. He won the Super Bowl with a different team. He was good with the Vikings, but guys off the top of my head who were washed up, Jim McMahon, aging Warren Moon, retired Randall Cunningham, radical Jeff George, Case Keenum, all made deep playoff runs. 3 of them made the NFC Championship game. So get on board and row or get on the dock. I mean, I, for one, have been saying this for months. I feel like it's more Judd that has been the negative Nancy here. And Thor, by the way, Thor basically said 8 wins is the Super Bowl for this team yesterday.
I feel like I have been very upbeat about the future here. I feel like I've been
you said, but then yesterday when it came down to it, I asked you, what is the range of outcomes for this team?
For this year.
And you said maximum of 9 wins.
Yeah.
And I believe there is a world where they win double-digit games, and I don't know if they win the Super Bowl.
I didn't say 4 wins. I said that I think that they're going to be between like 6 and 9 wins.
But Terry Pitt via YouTube is saying, look at all of these quarterbacks that we looked sideways at. Case Keenum being the number 1. They won 13 games with Case Keenum. They went to the NFC Championship game.
Unfortunately, Terry lost all credibility when he mixed the Gophers rowing the boat with the Vikings. So, don't bring that stuff into my house here, Terry, okay?
I agree.
Seriously, we ain't rowing no boat.
Yeah. Well, when they beat the brakes off Rhode Island on Peacock tomorrow, you guys are not allowed back on the bandwagon.
Yeah, well, believe me, I'm not going, and I might not watch it.
You might not watch Gophers Rhode Island? Oh,
well,
wow,
it's
what a
on
threat.
Peacock. I can't get out of the app to watch the other games. I want to flip around.
Judd, be careful. Judd might not
watch
watch Gophers Rhode Island tomorrow.
Wow,
what a big threat. Judd might find something better to do on a beautiful Saturday.
No, I'm going to be on my couch watching football, but I can't get out of the app to flip, to the different games. These apps are killing me. They need to be improved.
Don't they have more than one game on Peacock, or is that the featured game on Peacock? Unfortunately for them tomorrow,
I have no idea.
I feel like there's other featured games probably.
Like a slate
they can't
of bad
be the
games?
only college football. There's hundreds of college football. They can't be the only one going on.
Can't put a second one on Peacock.
Peacock?
Yeah. Cincinnati versus I don't know, Pitt,
I got my
Ball
paper right here. I'll
State.
find out for you guys.
Exactly.
I got my paper right here.
Does the newspaper list all the the TV channels that the games are going to be on?
Yeah. In fact, the best part about it is it's an entire. I'll show you quick here. Entire weekend listing of all
great ASMR right now for the
all
podcast.
the
audience.
games on. So let's see. Peacock, football tomorrow. College football. Yes, it's the only exclusive Peacock game tomorrow.
Wow.
Why would they make that the case?
Yeah.
Why would they?
Because they don't want me, Jeff,
goal?
because they're trying to. Because it's going to be such an offensive eyesore. They're like, no one should really have to watch this.
Yeah, what is their business model is the question there. Dennis Thomas, 2811 from the YouTube comment section. Please read this message if possible, Purple Daily. I love this show, but you guys are negative as hell, and you are all giving certain teams too much credit based off last year. Injuries week to week happen. Momentum from big wins the week before. Crazy turnovers can determine games we least expect to win as well. This schedule guessing that you guys are doing is a waste of time. Teams on paper, it performed well in the analytics, I guess. But teams on paper in September can be totally different by December. These takes from the schedule prediction were terrible, but I do still love you guys. Okay, here I will say. First of all, yeah, of course. We kind of preface by saying, hey, the way the schedule looks on paper in September. Totally different in November. Right. There's always 3 right. The Cardinals might be good, or someone gets injured. But I will say this: digging deeper on the Packers, as we just mentioned, they are the youngest roster in the NFL. On December 23rd last year, the Packers were 6-8, and Jordan Love has started. He kind of played well for 4 games, but their defense was a disaster. They were already decided on firing their defensive coordinator. They just waited for another month. But they were 6-8, and then they had games lined up against Carolina, worst team in the NFL, Vikings with like their third or fourth quarterback, and then the Bears before Caleb Williams was ever really an official thought. So they win those 3 gimme games, tiebreakers to get to 9 wins. Super impressive playoff win against Dallas.
Right.
But like I'll throw the Packers out as an example. Do I think they're going to be good? Do I think they're on the right track? Unfortunately for Vikings fans, yes. But we are maybe a little quick to crown a team that was 6-8 on December 23rd, going into a layup set of games down the stretch to get them a 9-8 record.
I've been saying that for months. I've been saying exactly that. Jordan Love that's the thing is they paid him off of a sample size of games.
Yeah, and they kind of had to. But
well, they did, but the point is, yes, I agree completely. And picking the schedule is just for fun. Like, dude, it's not like it's not going to be.
It's not that serious. Bro.
Things are going to change. It's I think once the schedule gets released and we obviously pick it the day after it comes out, we do it 3 or 4 more times before the season starts for fun.
You want to pick it again right now?
But you know what? People think the Bears are going to be really good. You should watch out for the Bears. Well, we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a world where if Darnold plays well, I mean, yeah, this team could contend. I just think that we'll talk about this on our Saturday episode eventually, but I think there is an issue with depth that concerns me the most here. I'm not saying all teams are deep. I'm saying the Vikings to me are building something. Mm-hmm. They're not there yet. And I think that's a very fair statement. And I think this is way more exciting a track to be on than be an aging out team that legitimately has guys. And this is an old Vikings problem from the past, from the Spielman years. That team was old with multi-year contracts to the old guys.
Yeah. Yep.
Very different from right now.
Agreed. They have like $66 million in cash. So Christy Owens here chimes in, and she says, hello from one of the 6%. So she's got a good memory there. We at one point on the show said, someone asked, what percentage of your audience is male versus female? And I think we dug in and said 94% of our audience tends to be male versus female. So Christy Owens, hello from one of the 6%. I think that'd make a great show idea. I like that idea too. Thank you for all the camp notes, Judd. It made watching preseason a lot more interesting. Also, I drafted Big Leg Bill as my kicker for 2 of my fantasy drafts. My son laughed at me for choosing a Vikings kicker. I'm here to prove him wrong. I also drafted Big Leg Bill in 2 different fantasy drafts.
Wow.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's start 3 field goals on Sunday against the Giants, and we'll go from there.
He's got a cannon for a leg. What more? I think because the coaching staff has the right mentality, I think this kid has a really good chance.
Well, hopefully, because he doesn't have a head coach. Mike Zimmer told on himself in that Star Tribune article, didn't even talk about kickers, but if being a quarterback or being a defensive player was that rough under Zimmer, imagine being Blair Walsh or whoever else. By the way, I just opened the Prize Picks app here. Let me scroll down. So they have a kicker section. You can go and pick more or less on kickers, and that's how you do it on the Prize Picks app. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You select between 2 and 4 players, and you pick more or less on their projected stats. Then you place your entry, and sure enough, they don't even have a photo for Will Reichard yet on here. He's so new. Big Leg Bill is taking the league by storm that they haven't even found a proper headshot for him yet. They just have his jersey. But if you think he's going to go more than 1.5 field goals made, which I do, against the Giants, you can throw that in Prize Picks, where, by the way, if you download the Prize Picks app and use the code PURPLEDAILY, you can get $50 instantly when you play just $5. So that's code PURPLEDAILY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. Also, we have a new friend of the show here, Spidex Pest Control.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So here's the situation. Sports Dad has an old house, 1951, I think. So Sports Dad has mouse or mice problems, right? So I called my friends at Spidex. They came to my house last week, and I did not know that this was done, but they set up a plan to make sure that the mice and in this case rodents couldn't get into my house.
So when Sports Dad was away, the mice would play?
The mice would play, and Sports Dad was trying to catch him himself. Amateur, Spidex, experts.
Get over here.
And here's the thing that the guy from Spidex told me that I didn't know. Did you know that like mice and creatures that inhabit your home in the winter are looking right now? They like scout out.
Oh, they're already...
Like it's real estate. They scout it out.
They're looking for those ramblers, those 1950s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so look, it's mice for me, but if you want to be outdoors in the fall, box elder bugs and wasps can ruin your day, right? Spidex takes care of those as well. And there's a special offer for, yes, Score North listeners and viewers, $125 off your first service by calling. It's 952-333-8813, or check them out at spidex.com. SPIDEXX. They also have services outside the state. So if you are a PD fan somewhere else, check them out. They might be in your area. They can get rid of all those pests that we hate so much. Spidex2x's.com.
John Navarra says, I hope this email finds you better than the fireworks specialist for the Gopher football team last week.
Oh, God.
Yikes.
I know that JJ McCarthy's injury this year will keep him from playing. On the Thursday episode, you guys said it's best that he will not be allowed to play, but he's also not able to throw in practice and learn in real time. You guys talked about the VR glasses or system that can sort of expedite reps and how that's a great learning tool. Does it have defenders rushing too, or just the offensive plays? So it's like basically they have a camera that it's whatever the quarterback is seeing in practice. So it could be what JJ McCarthy was seeing before he got hurt, or whatever Sam Darnold now sees. And then any of the quarterbacks can just like go back, put the goggles on, and relive those practice reps. Yep. So the answer depends, does it have defenders rushing too? It depends on, are they running 11 on 11 and the Flores defense is rushing? But it's not like an AI recreation of practice. Correct. It is recorded practice from a first-person view.
Yes.
And then you get to sort of go back and make the reads again.
And I believe when the VR technology started for football, in this case, I believe it was a camera behind the quarterback. But the problem was then that the guy with the camera would physically get in the way of the play. Yeah. So that was a pain in the ass. Now it's a GoPro on Darnold's helmet. So it's simple as hell. And yes, it's whatever scheme or whatever play they want to run is what McCarthy and Darnold, Mullins, Rippon can see as well.
Yeah, and obviously like being able to actually drive the car and make the throws and just feel that pressure, like there's no replacing that. But then there's the question of it's not like training camp where they're out there grinding for 2 hours and they're bang, bang, bang. Practice is a lot more limited in the actual NFL regular season, and Sam Darnold is the starting quarterback. So, yes, JJ would be missing out on reps, and quite frankly, he'd probably be missing out on just starting a bunch of games for the Vikings this year.
Right.
But being able to sort of go through the preparation for a week, the meetings with Kevin O'Connell, a couple people in the YouTube comments were asking, well, isn't it? I mean, it's not like players get hurt and they're just ostracized from the organization. No, they're around the organization. But a head coach devoting time from his busy week to meet for whatever it is, an hour, however long they're going to meet, with an injured player is not usually what happens. Usually if you get hurt, and I mean, we talked about this with Thor. Mike Zimmer had a healthy top 12 quarterback for 4 years and didn't start meeting with him once a week until the fourth year of the Cousins partnership. So I think there's going to be things for JJ McCarthy to build on, even though he's not physically throwing footballs at practice or in regular season games.
Right, and he's a special case too. Like he is. If an ordinary player gets hurt and is going to miss the year, they're around the team. They can certainly go to the meetings. They can go watch practice. But I mean, McCarthy is a special case. So yeah. Nobody is saying, because I think that there's a fine line here. Nobody is saying it's good that he got hurt. Like, oh, now he doesn't have to play. Nobody is saying that. It's not good. But I think we also have to caution of it's not like it's a lost year completely. Like, unless you thought he has to start as a rookie, he's going to get attention. He's going to get mental reps. He is going to be involved, very much so. So, in some ways, because, Phil, of the point that you just broached about practice, because, again, the first team QB gets the vast majority of reps right now. This is going to be a little bit like if O'Connell had come out and just said he ain't playing no matter what this year.
Yeah, which I'm on the record saying I'm fine with that delayed gratification. I'd rather it not have been an injury, but I would have been fine. Now, if Sam Darnold has 3 touchdowns and 7 interceptions and the Vikings are 0-4, and you would have asked me again going into, the Week 5 game London, maybe my willpower wouldn't have been able to hold up. But Ivan Wilson says, with the season-ending injury to JJ McCarthy, I was wondering what happens to this year on his contract. I know he had the first-round extra-year option, so first-round picks, it's 4 years, and then a fifth-year team option. And he wasn't supposed to play this year anyways. Does the IR designation mean that this is like a redshirt year? Love the show and look forward to Ventline on Sunday. Unfortunately, no. His contract, it's just a lost year on the contract. So going into next year, he will have 3 more years of like guaranteed contract, and then a 5th-year option, or the 4th year after the 3 years I just mentioned. Right. So the structure remains the same. It's not like a reset or a tolling. You just flush this year down the drain.
And then a $500 million contract in 3 years for JJ McCarthy.
And everyone else has to go.
Yeah.
The defense has to be just obliterated, and Zim's going to be mad about that from his ranch in Kentucky by then.
I think there's the hope would be that JJ McCarthy is good enough that he's in that top 5 to 7 franchise-changing quarterback group where it's not even like a second thought, that you pay him and then you figure the rest out later, and much like some of the other top quarterbacks, he can make up for like a receiver. I mean, the Chargers had to the Chiefs did it with Tyreek Hill going away a couple years ago. The Chargers have kind of done the same thing, saying, listen, Herbert, you're a top 5 or 7 talent. We're not going to be paying 2 top receivers. You're going to have to sort of make Ladd McConkey into a thing in 2024.
If I'm not mistaken, the Jefferson contract extension that was just signed expires around the same time McCarthy's rookie contract would.
So that might, and
so
he'll be like 29 years old, 30.
This is the problem that the Bengals have with Jamar Chase, right? Like the Vikings, the Jefferson contract's a lot, but it doesn't kill you because you don't have a quarterback being paid an ungodly sum. Joe Burrow broke the bank. And so now it's like Jamar Chase is like, I want to break the bank too. He probably deserves to, but this is where it gets to be a lot more of a shell game of how you try to move the salary cap pieces around in Cincinnati than here.
And what's funny is I think the first one to chirp was T. Higgins, their number 2 receiver. He's like, well, I need to get, and they're like, no, buddy, it's not
you'll probably be traded. See you, bye. Get out of my office.
A bunch of people loved or were fascinated by the Wednesday Write That Down and Quarterback Cesspool Challenge show. If you haven't listened to it, we had a great guest listener predictor who made 3 predictions up front about what we were going to do the rest of the show. And so we had to sort of dodge the landmines. And then we argued about the construction of Quarterback Cesspool Challenge. And 1216 Vivek on YouTube says, Declan's struggle with understanding the math on the team QBR. Laugh, laugh, laugh. And then J Frizzy 96 says, Purple Daily plus math equals train wreck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think we landed on a good solution, though. We get to keep picking individual quarterbacks. Right. And then I can't remember if we talked about this on the show or not, but a good solution seems to be, because we make the picks on Wednesdays, but there's sometimes injury questions, so I think step 1 is if you pick a quarterback who winds up not playing in the game because of an injury, then you automatically get whoever replaces that quarterback. You get that quarterback's backup.
Yep.
But a loophole there would be, what if you've already chosen that quarterback's backup? Like, let's say Declan were to have picked Russell Wilson in week 1, and then, who, by the way, might not play because of an injury, ironically. Right. Let's say he picks Russell Wilson plays and whatever, and then in 8 weeks, Justin Fields replaces Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And Declan takes Justin Fields, but he doesn't play in the game because he gets hurt in practice on Friday, and Russell Wilson comes back in, this would trigger another scenario where you're not allowed to use Russell Wilson the second time, and therefore Declan would get a default QBR of 75. That's where the default QBR would come in. I think Judd's head just exploded.
I was just here to play a game.
But we need to cover all the angles of the game.
And I agree. My biggest stance was team QBR does not exist. It doesn't though. There's go look at, because I scoured the earth for it. There's no team QBR statistic, and if there's two individual ones, I don't think we can just add them together, divide it by 2, you get the average. I don't think it works like that. So that's where I was trying to really fight.
We would weigh them. We'd weigh them.
Are you doing math again?
But that's my point.
God, don't
How
do
are
math
we
anymore.
weighing these? And who's the laws of weighing the team QBR? That's where I was like, we need a finite system of not us doing the math. That's all I was trying to stand for.
I was just hoping to trigger Declan for a second.
You did a hell of a job. Look, in the Score North family, and I don't know Ross or Age's abilities here, but there are the power rankings of who can do math. Royce is one. He's phenomenal. I don't know how, but he's just absolutely. He is a.
He can do basic sports math really well, like standings.
No, but I mean, this dude used to challenge. He balanced the checkbook, and like he can do.
So he can do subtraction.
Okay, he's number 1. Phil's 2, and then after that,
balancing a checkbook. It's just
nobody's
right?
on. Nobody's on balancing a checkbook. I'm gonna tell you right now, old school was a pain in the ass. It was a literal ledger.
Well, it's a pain in the ass because you have to keep track of everything, not because the math is hard.
But then you got to do the ledger. I'm just telling you, it's a pain in the ass. Royce 1, Phil 2, and then nobody else should talk about math.
You know, my dad taught me how to balance a checkbook when I was like, I don't know, 15 years old or something. And he, by the way, till his dying day 2 years ago, 80 years old, would balance his checkbook.
Yeah.
And he would ask me every time. He'd always have like 3 or 4 sort of life questions for me, even until, his deathbed. And one of them, multiple times a year, was, are you balancing your checkbook? My dad, I haven't written a check in a long time. And we've got, I'm pretty sure, like, we can trust, the debit card, the online.
Sure
do you
that?
balance your debit card or your credit? Like, when you use a card, Judd, do you, have a manual? Okay.
No, I don't care. I check my balance. That's all I do. I can't do math.
Yeah. My dad was still,
can't do
skeptical
fractions.
about the online balance.
Patrick, I think,
can
can do fractions, too. Percentages, which impresses me. I can't. My dad could. I can't do those to save my life.
In my first North Loop apartment, it took them, and I moved in there in 2017, and I stayed there through 22. It took them, though, until midway through 2020 to finally make an online portal for checks. I was literally giving
checks?
A check. I ordered a whole bunch of checks, and it was for one reason, to write 12 of them a year to my landlord. And they finally got with the times.
It's like, okay, so I put a check in that slot in the wall, and I don't know what's behind that one.
Yes.
Yes. This comment.
Robbie B, math ranking. Patrick, Phil, Vinny, Stella, the dogs, Judd, and then Declan.
Thank you.
What do you mean by fractions? Like, okay, one out of 3. What percentage is that?
That's what I'm saying. Is like he can do percentages with fractions. I was taught that in school.
What's 2 out of 5? What percentage is that?
40%.
Okay,
but I only know that.
And 1 out of 3.
Is it 333?
33.3.
Close. 33.3.
Yeah. But those things I know because of rote math from baseball statistics.
Yep.
But like if you were to ask me a percentage of a higher baseball batting average number, I would have no chance. I wouldn't know.
I was basically Tommy Boy at St. because my last general, this will shock you all, I had everything ready to graduate. I didn't get General 4, math, or statistics. When I got the D on my final grade in math, my last semester in college, I was literally doing somersaults, basically being Tommy Boy saying D+, I passed.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this, Dex. Good for you. You passed it.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
I took a statistics class in college. I had no idea what they were talking about. And it's like, I will never use this.
Well, if there was a sports so I took I got 1 credit in college for taking baseball scorebook keeping.
That's incredible.
And I should have taught that
by
class.
Judd.
Nobody can teach it.
It was
like
taught
I
by
can.
the Gopher baseball assistant head coach, Rob Fornacier.
Yeah.
It was me and like 20 Gopher athletes. It was like
that's awesome.
3 Gopher receivers. Reese Lloyd, the kicker, was in that class.
Baseball scorekeeping, though, is genius because if you enjoy a baseball game, it's a practical application. The statistics, it would be like I had said I want to go into this field. And then I'd be like, I suck at it, so I'm not going to. But statistics is not a practical application. Baseball scorekeeping, if you like baseball, is, right? Like everything in school should be like home ec stuff. Well, teach me how to do stuff that I can take into the field. And then if I like something, I'll do it.
The joke is on all those teachers and students that were so worried that I gotta learn math because I'm not always going to have a TI 4000 calculator on my hip. It's like, oh, yeah, you
Joke's
do.
on you.
Yeah. Within this thing, I got everything I could possibly need.
Southern Exile chimes in and says, "What's up, friends? I'm fired up for Sunday. I appreciated the deep dive episode on the Mike Zimmer article. It's curious regarding his bristly relationship with quarterbacks and his commentary that borderlines on disdain for them. Yeah. Have we ever explored the fact that he was recruited by multiple colleges to play quarterback and ended up playing for Illinois State? And from my research, he broke his thumb on his throwing hand when he was a sophomore and then moved to linebacker. A neck injury ended his playing career.
Right.
Reckless speculation on a Friday. Did his thumb injury and the end of his quarterback career drive him into a place where he devoted the rest of his life in football to stopping quarterbacks and distancing himself from the position in general?
Oh my God, I have never even thought about this, but I love this reckless speculation.
Is this all factual, by the way, that he was a quarterback?
Yes, he was a quarterback, and he definitely had a neck injury that short-circuited his career. So I think that's all right. I love this. Great theory.
Yeah, it does feel like something deeply psychological happened to him. I don't think you just fall in love with defense and hate quarterbacks. It feels like his disdain for quarterbacks is next level from what would be normal for a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah,
sounds like a good
movie.
Like,
did the Teddy thing add to that as well? Because I do feel like he loved it, right?
He opened his heart to a quarterback for the first time in 40 years.
And then he watches him inexplicably crumble to the ground and almost lose his leg.
Yeah.
Like this is I love this theory.
He let his guard down, and it was like it's like Beauty and the Beast, right? Or the Beast lives in isolation and solitude in that castle.
Yeah.
And he's prickly, and finally he meets, was it Belle?
Belle, yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater was Belle. Mm-hmm. Mike Zimmer was the Beast. And then miscommunication, and I don't remember what else
Belle's
happened.
leg just snapped in half as she fell down the stairs, but yeah.
Ouch.
And there was a talking teacup at one point. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I was high. Yeah.
Yeah. Judd, have you seen Beauty and the Beast?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think I have. I'm sure I have not.
We got to make that happen now.
No.
Now that there's a very much a football
rewind.
parallel to it.
I got a lot going on right now. I'll you know what? I'll watch it next summer. How about that?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get right on that.
Yeah, exactly.
We could add that to the Mackie and Judd movie review franchise if we bring that back.
We're too busy. We got too many shows now.
Let's see here. Got this. This is from Matt Hansen. Got this from a fantasy football podcast when discussing punishments for coming in last place. Could you eat as many eggs as your age in 24 hours?
No.
If yes, what would your strategy be?
In 24 hours?
Yeah, you're the youngest. You're 30.
Yeah,
31?
Yes, you could. No, 54,
I'm 39.
No.
And you're 54?
Dude.
Well, Judd's 54. So
54
that's a
and
lot of eggs.
Judd's is a lot. Yeah, you're right. No, Judd's is a lot.
That's way too much.
I'm thinking this is from my age. That's from like
you could.
eggs. I'm like, yeah, that's no problem.
I think I could eat 39 eggs in 24 hours.
Yeah, I think you could too.
I mean, a plate of like six. Well, but it's one day. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
One nice day. Protein boost to build muscles.
Yeah, because all the beer and everything else we're drinking is all just so good for us. Heaven forbid we have a bunch of eggs.
Judd's like, I'll drink 7 IPAs while watching Rhode Island and Minnesota.
Yeah.
But I draw the line at eating too many.
7? I'd need about 8 patties for that, baby.
I mean, I would definitely, if it was just, you wake up in the morning and your first meal is only scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
without any toast or anything else, no meats, easily could put down 6 or 7. A little hot sauce maybe right away.
Oh,
And so that's a big
Tabasco.
chunk.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the first.
That's the first.
Now
And
take me through the rest of your day.
so I would say like 2 breakfasts, if we're counting 2 breakfasts within the 24 hours, if I time it right. That's a third minimum of the eggs right there. And then I would just need to find 39 minus, let's say I did 7 and 7.
Here we go.
I'd still have to eat like 25 eggs over the other meals. It would be I can see how 54 would be a stretch.
I enjoy
Declan, like
eggs.
31 or whatever.
Yeah, I would, and probably keep in mind because it's in 24 hours. So let's actually, because you're gonna be sleeping for let's say at least 8 of those hours. So really, it's the 31 eggs in like 16 hours. Can you do that? And I think I could. Absolutely think I could. Did I have the math right there?
Okay,
Almost.
whoever loses the purple picks for the season has to take on this challenge. I'll buy the eggs. No, they're
Purple.
really expensive.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
eggs are
the Saturday
expensive.
purple picks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. 54 is excessive.
Kevin McLean chimes in and says, as much as I understand KOC might be limited by quarterback play, what if we don't run the ball more or can't figure out the screen game? Is there a point where we have to say KOC might not be an offensive genius, even with the limitations of Sam Darnold? I hope for all good things and that KOC and JJ will be magic together. But what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I have to get him to McCarthy. Like Darnold, if he resurrects or just jump starts for really the first time Darnold's career, he's going to get a ton of credit. He deserves that. Am I going to pass a hard judgment though? Unless he does play calling things that are stupid, which I don't expect. No, like to me, this is all about O'Connell, McCarthy tied together at the hip starting next year. So there's going to be no final judgment unless he just abandons the run completely again. Then I might have room to consider his offensive aptitude. But I really want to see McCarthy and O'Connell and like where that goes from a play calling standpoint. And then of course how McCarthy plays.
I think there's a good reason, even though there is maybe some disrespect for Kevin O'Connell compared to the Sean McVays, the Mike McDaniels, the Matt LaFleurs. But he hasn't yet to really show he is on that level yet. I think he can. And to be honest, if there's anyone to do it and make a wizard out of Sam Darnold, I think Kevin O'Connell enters that conversation. But I like KOC. I think he is a very good offensive coach, but he has yet to show he is on the level of the elite tier of offensive minds in the NFL.
I do think, just quickly, Phil, I do think he gets sold a little bit short, though. He took Cousins, who had talent, and in his first year, he milked 8 comeback wins, which is remarkable from Kirk. So like there were things he did with Kirk where I was like, okay, that's impressive. I would have liked them to run more, but Kirk Cousins is, I think, probably, or was, as a Viking, the 12th best quarterback in the entire league. But there was a reason why he was outside the top 10, and it's my opinion that O'Connell got him as close to the top 10 as he's going to get.
Yeah, I would say the one thing that I'm really interested in is how often does he lean on the passing game compared to last year? Because I think now game flow dictates some of this where
right.
If you're trailing in a lot, like the Commanders led the league in passing attempts last year, and the Chargers were in that mix, and like teams that were trailing in a lot of games. But the Vikings were 5 pass attempts from leading the entire league in pass attempts last year. And Kirk Cousins got hurt in week 8.
Yeah.
So why are you still leading the league almost in passing attempts with Jaron Hall, Nick Mullins, and Josh Dobbs? Is there now his comeback to that would be, well, Alexander Madison was my running back, and you guys all stumped for Ty Chandler, but we don't trust him on third down. Like we didn't exactly have the tools to run the ball like maybe people thought. But you can't if you're going in with an uncertain quarterback situation, which they are. Leading the league in pass attempts doesn't seem like it seems pretty reckless. So you're sort of asking for turnovers and sacks and bad things to happen.
Yeah. I think part of the problem was I think O'Connell was tempted by what Mullins especially showed him in practice, but the short circuiting was enough for me to say we can't trust you. Like he cannot be trusted.
What 2489 on YouTube says, what happened to the random Viking of the Week segment? So I think two things. It's just kind of on the shelf right now. One, Thor's Day happened, and we love devoting the entire Thursday show to Thor. But also, we did it for 3 years, and quite frankly, we got to the bottom of the bag of recognizable random Viking. Some of you guys maybe you just started listening to the show or watching the show 6 months ago or a year ago. And I've got the list right here.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking at it.
We've done all time. Let's see. We're going to do some math here. Judd has 70 wins. Declan 36. I have 25, which means we've done 106. We've done 131 random Vikings over like a 3-year period. And I don't know, there's still some fairly big names out there, but it's tough because it's not as fun when you're digging into like the 2002 left guard situation to find a random Viking in clues. So maybe at some point we bring it back and just start completely fresh, or we come up with something. But I guess we kind of replaced it with the snake draft of the week too. Just we like to have a fun game or two, quarterback cesspool challenge, just sort of fun things to sprinkle in.
Mm-hmm. Could come back at some point though.
It's in witness protection right now.
We would almost have to just start, to your point, again, completely new.
Yeah.
And just throw out all the names and bring guys back in, because like we are to a point now where it just wasn't as much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what is fun?
What's that?
Podrigs. You got the Patty
right
shirt you're rocking right now. That, by the way, there's some NDSU fans who listen to this podcast. That is an official NDSU watch party establishment. Podrigs.
Exactly right. And it is an official establishment that makes fabulous beers. In fact, local craft brewery that's recreating Irish and UK classics. I've talked about this. They've got a red beer that's fantastic. They've also got a lager that's a session beer that is absolutely great. Available in over 80 liquor stores in the metro, so it is easy to find. My personal place to shop is my Lund's Byerly's here in SLP. And as Phil said, they also have a location that you can watch the NDSU games at, the old Land O'Nod factory at the corner of Broadway and Central Avenues in Northeast. Podrigs, the official beer of the Sports Dad, the official beer of watching football. In fact, I got to pick up some today so I can enjoy that Packers-Eagles game tonight and then a Saturday full of football.
Amen. While you're out, maybe you can pick up some Vikings scratch game tickets, huh?
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good idea. That's a pretty good idea. In fact, the new Viking scratch game from the lottery is the official scratch game of the Vikings. You could win up to $100,000 or second chance prizes, including season tickets or an away game trip. That's officially exciting. Minnesota Lottery, just say I'm in, must be 18 or older to play.
All right, it's time now for the snake draft of the week on Purple Daily. I've got a list of all the ones we've done so far. Voting takes place on the Score North Twitter account, and our guy AJ, who puts together the graphics and the tallies, he informs us this morning last week's vote was the closest vote in the history of the snake draft of the week.
Narrow win.
Judd, you won the State Fair Foods snake draft by 0.4 percentage points over me. 0.4 percentage points.
Do you need a recount?
Technically, we do trigger recounts in that in the political system, but in the snake draft rules, no.
Is it within 1%? What triggers a recount in politics?
I think it's 1. Is it 2
or 0.5?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I might have to lawyer up with Lawyer Chase and demand a recount. But yeah, Judd, you went with the Gizmo sandwich. You went with can't remember what else you
picking third too.
Picking third, footlong corn dog, and you had something else. What was your first?
The
pick?
Fries? No, you didn't pick fries. Declan picked.
I picked something else very simple. I think
cheese curds.
No, I don't like
nobody
picks
cheese curds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it was enough for Judd to win by 0.4 percentage points.
Yep.
So the ones we've done so far are State Fair Foods, pizzas, NFL expansion cities, chips, things you would do if you signed a $100 million contract, best sports movie or TV coaches, the worst household chores, other Netflix sports-related documentaries besides the receiver one, airplane pet peeves, man cave items, and bar appetizers. And today's comes from listener Scott. By the way, if you have snake draft ideas, throw them in the YouTube comment section. You can email us through the feedback tab in the Score North app. We'll keep compiling a list here. But listener Scott says, if you could put 3 prime Vikings of any time period on this year's roster to make them a Super Bowl contender,
I love this.
Who would you add? He lists the ones that he would go with here. I'll leave those out just so I don't give you guys any ideas. I was tempted for so-and-so, but I think prime so-and-so would be good, and so-and-so would be a nightmare for teams. So, yeah, he starts listing guys he would take. But it's a fun exercise. So instead of just, like, listing random players, let's do a snake draft where we each pick 3 prime Vikings of any time in franchise history to put on this year's team. And because Dex drafted first last week, the order goes, I get the first overall pick, Judd gets the second overall pick, Declan drafts third, snake draft, it flips back to Declan. Declan, 3 rounds. Are you guys ready?
Oh, yeah. All prepared.
Unfortunately, I don't have the chime sounders here because I've got a different setup with my
computer on the fridge.
I'm trying to do a system restore, and it's been like an hour, and there's a wheel spinning, so I'm a little.
Don't you love when that just spins all day long?
That, but I'm gonna have to take that thing in later on this weekend. But so with the first overall pick, I don't think it's really a position of need, but I'm going to give Sam Darnold as many weapons, and I might replace him too later in the snake draft.
Sure.
I'm going to put Randy Moss on the field next to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison for a modern-day 3-deep. Take the top off the defense. Let Justin Jefferson cook in the intermediate range.
Yep.
And then Jordan Addison cleaning up the scraps.
Yep.
Give me Randy Moss with the first overall pick.
Well, I do have a position of need because you got weapons, Jefferson, Addison. You got, Hawkinson probably back in, it sounds like, week 7. So I'm going to take a guy that was in his prime for 1 year here, and I don't even know if it was his real prime because he was old, but he was so damn good. I'm taking Brett Favre 2009.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want to get that ball distributed. Yeah. I want to say, Brett Favre, Jefferson. I mean, I love him. I love Justin.
Dude, Brett has been
Aaron Jones.
Brett has someone like doing football tweets now for him.
Yeah.
Because there's no way he's capable of finding like old clips on the internet and like clipping the videos. Yesterday he had one tweeting about the first ever pass he threw, and it was like a pick 6 with the Falcons.
Yep.
But Brett has decided to be much more active on Twitter here. So, and then people just usually respond dunking on him for the fraud case that he's involved in.
And I saw he's blocking. I saw that the person who is doing the Favre account is blocking people that dunk on Favre.
Well, what did they expect? The guy literally is he currently being sued? I mean, he literally was like defrauding.
Didn't he countersue them though? And it's weird.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Vinny,
are you okay over there?
Yes, he sneaks up on me so well now. Sometimes he just boofs at me like he.
But you can always hear the chain, can't you?
I got the headphones on. If the cans are on and I'm really focused in a snake draft, I'm locked in and I don't hear the things around me. So happens.
Okay. I love how wound up tight you have to be for your dog to cause that
stress
reaction.
Problems, Dax.
I'm easily startled. That's not
deep breath.
That's not
it's okay.
It's not a surprise.
All right.
So Declan's on the clock for back-to-back picks here.
All right, I'll take a quarterback too. Give me Fran Tarkenton. Just give me Fran.
Good call.
I mean, I personally love Dante. I grew up with Dante,
right.
And Dante almost won an MVP 1 year and had some good seasons mixed into there too. But you can't take Dante over Fran as much as I love Dante. So give me Fran with my first pick, and second round pick. Give me John Randall.
Yeah, that's good. Yep, position.
Give me John Randall. Give me the eye black.
Yep.
Give me another great pass. There's so many. I mean, we could do a snake draft of literally just pass rushers. We actually, I think, could accomplish that. But I'll take John Randall with my second pick.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, he is one of the best interior pass rushers in modern NFL history. So he kind of plays the same position that Harrison Phillips wants to play. Like, neither one of them are the big space-eating defensive tackles, but I think they would work fine together. And then all the different things that Brian Flores wanted to do.
Absolutely.
Right? So Okay, that puts Judd back on the clock here for his second pick.
Okay, I am going to take, I believe it was 1971 Associated Press MVP of the National Football League. I'm going to take prime Alan Page.
Yeah.
Position of need, defensive tackle. Again, way too small to play there, right? Just a dominant player. So Alan Page is my second pick.
That's a good one. Yeah. Especially if we're, he was a little light in the trousers there, like not enough sand in the pants to play in today's NFL, but we're assuming that he would.
Light in the trousers.
I meant on the backside. I know what you're thinking.
No, I'm not. I just think that saying is absolutely hilarious.
Like
Alan, we love you.
Sand in the pants.
Alan, we love you.
It's like when I put on dress pants and I'm like, a little light in the trousers. Like, gotta go down another waist for this little tiny waist that I have.
Yeah,
light
he weighed like
trousers.
220 pounds or something, right? Or 240. So we need a little more.
I got you.
But, okay, that brings it to, I get back-to-back picks here with the last pick in the second round. The cornerback situation is a little sus right now.
And so's the Vikings, history there. I was going through, their greatest corners. There's a couple, don't get me wrong. But it's, defensive tackle. It's this glorious list, right?
Yeah, it is. I think I trust Stephon Gilmore as kind of an outside guy, and I think they'll figure out another option. But I'm going to put Antoine Winfield, slot cornerback. Great. You want to talk about the run game, too. One of the great tackling cornerbacks in Vikings history.
Good call.
So I'll put Antoine Winfield on this team. I was kind of hoping one of these quarterbacks that you guys took would fall a little bit, but
You still got one.
So do I go? I think there's more than one. Quite frankly, you could choose here.
Sure, but 2004.
The defensive tackle thing. It's kind of, do I take a quarterback or do I take a defensive tackle? I'm gonna put faith in the group of hungry, undrafted, currently backup defensive tackles that we're gonna find a way up front with Harrison Phillips, maybe a little Levi Drake Rodriguez or Taki Taimani, and I'm gonna go with Dante Culpepper here with my final pick. So give me a 260-pound crazy athlete who can throw the ball the country mile to Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Who can run? He's going to run for 10. You think Josh Allen is running for touchdowns? Wait till we see Dante Culpepper in 2024.
Just trucking people, too, who are shocked. They're like, a quarterback can run like that? Because that dude was built like a linebacker.
I'm going to get my roll on here with that final pick.
It's backwards like this? Or is it forward?
Well, that's forward. You're going forward.
Right. No, but I'm saying, did Dante go backwards or forwards?
Forwards, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I thought Declan.
Who goes back?
Usually he started it slow and then he would go in.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Just clarifying. All right, so here's my thought process with my last pick. I have two names in mind, and I will reveal them both and then make my pick, okay? Xavier Rhodes in his prime, because now I've solidified my cornerback position. But I'm also a little bit torn by the fact that I could take prime Steve Hutchinson at guard, who was just an absolute beast. So where do I have more faith? In the cornerback room right now or in the guard room? And it is tough. This is a very tough decision. But I am going to go with, if I'm trying to upgrade the 2024 Vikings immediately, I'm going to go with Rhodes.
Okay.
I feel like there's just too many questions. There's not enough depth at corner. I don't love the guards at all, and Hutchinson's an unbelievable player, but I feel like if I'm trying to upgrade immediately, Rhodes gives me now a prime Rhodes shut down corner.
That's fair. Yeah, I kind of thought about Rhodes. Winfield, I feel like is a better fit slot. I don't know if I trust Byron Murphy. So, and that brings us to Declan with the final pick in this snake draft.
Final pick, and I'm also just looking at this too as I would love to see these Vikings players on this team, this 2024 team, and give me, even though I really like Aaron Jones, give me Adrian Peterson. Give me an MVP running back that was insanely good at what he did every single time he touched the ball. So I'll take AP. I'll take the MVP. That's no problem to me, even though there's some holes at corner, guards, etc. Give me Adrian Peterson. So I'll round out my team.
It would be fun to watch. Sammy Darnold, just turn around and hand that thing off about 27 times to number 28. Now you'd have to take him off the field on third down. And Sam Darnold might not, or pass protector, but he is, if it was just hand the ball to a guy. He's one of the 3 best in NFL history. Jim Brown's in that conversation. Walter Payton, Barry Sanders. It's kind of a debate, but
hot take: 2024, the way that offenses operate now, Chuck Foreman, a better choice as an all-around player because of his skill set.
Kind of that pass catching, third down. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, Peterson's a freak and was so fun to watch and cover, but yeah, it's like he was very fortunate to land in his career as far as the time span was where he did. Like, he would still be really good now, but one, I don't think he'd be a bell cow now, and two, the 2007 on Vikings, I think, were frustrated by the fact that he wasn't great at pass protection, and he could catch the ball but wasn't great there. I think now it would be an actual problem.
Or maybe, because, again, the league evolves, like, would he have put more emphasis at this stage in his career, or in this era of football, I guess. But
maybe.
So here's what the rosters are. Judd, Brett Favre, Alan Page, Xavier Rhodes, Declan, Fran Tarkenton, John Randall, Adrian Peterson, and then I have Randy Moss, Antoine Winfield, and Dante Culpepper. I'm going to call a shot. I think Declan is going to win the audience vote here on this one. But the voting is going to be up sometime probably early Friday afternoon on the Score North Twitter account. By the way, the number 1 draft pick on this show, if you've been involved in an accident, is Nicolay Law. A quick shout-out to the exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily. Nicolay Law, very proud to serve the Twin Cities communities that they live in. Russell Nicolay, huge fan of the Purple, huge supporter of Minnesota sports, and his company is a supporter of you, here to get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. A reminder, Vikings Vent Line is the place to be right after every single Vikings game, live on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, the most fan-friendly, interactive show in all of Minnesota sports. So we're sort of a bit of a format tweak this year, not an overhaul, but we're going to be a little more focused. First 8 to 10 minutes, we will give our takes while you guys send emails to vikingsventline@gmail.com. That's how you can request to be on the show. So Declan will populate the room, vikingsventline@gmail.com. Just keep that top of your mind throughout the entire season. And then we will devote the next 60 minutes to your takes. We want your strongest take from watching the Vikings game. And so when you jump on, have that ready. What is your strongest take about what you just saw, either in the game or if there's like a big picture take that you have? Bring it, starting on Sunday, right after Vikings and Giants on the Purple Daily YouTube channel.
Football.
I have a brand new. I'm kind of torn. So I have a brand new great Vikings crew neck that I bought, and I can't decide if I want to wear it on Sunday or if I want to wear it for hottest takes on Monday.
I mean, I'll be wearing my Victory Monday hoodie probably on Monday.
Yeah. I'm very excited.
I won't judge you if you wear it both days.
I was going to say, just wear it for both. Who cares?
I saw it in the dress yesterday, and I was I almost put it on, and I was like, nope, I got to wait.
No, right.
I've had it in the dresser for like 3 weeks. I've been so excited to wear it.
Wear it Sunday, and then Monday? Again Monday.
Yeah,
I
air it out
smell
maybe,
it from
or
here.
not. Yeah, it's all good.
This mustache stays for as long as the Vikings win, by the way. So the moment they lose, this mustache will go away.
I think your mustache is fine. So
yeah, I've got him starting 2-0. So Kelsey's gonna have to deal with that thing.
Hates it.
I love
it.
My what's this called? Goatee?
Yeah.
Fu Manchu?
It's not a Fu Manchu.
No.
Okay.
A Fu Manchu doesn't have the safety net underneath.
Although I do have to shave the
good looking
sides
go-to.
now. I do have to shave the sides a little bit now. It's getting too beard-like. But that's a me problem.
Hey, come for the football takes, stay for the snake draft and the facial hair discussion. Purple Daily, daily Vikings entertainment, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.